This is Empowering Women Everywhere. I am your host, Nan Gill, and today our guest is Amy Wohl. She is a licensed master social worker and a certified personal trainer, and she also does past life regressions. Amy, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's so good to have you, and we're excited about your passion and about what you're doing in the community. So do you want to tell us a little bit about some of the areas that you're involved in?
Sure. I've been practicing in Goshen, and I also have an office in Nyack. I primarily work with, individuals, couples, and also with adolescents. And I really enjoy my work. I'm very fortunate enough to wake up every day and enjoy being with people and seeing how I can help shift their life in some way.
Now, originally, you were just a certified trainer, and then you decided that was not enough for you. And
well, what happened was, as I was training people, I saw that there was a lot of emotional issues that were attached to it. So it wasn't just the physical, it was the emotional. And realizing that our bodies are so connected, mind, body,
right,
I decided that I wanted to get more education, so I went back for my master's in social work. And I do put together a lot of that often. I'll take people on the Goshen Trail, or I'll go by Nyack Beach, and we'll go outside and walk and talk, because the outdoors is so expansive.
Right.
And it doesn't limit us in just being in a small room with, 4 walls.
So you're a little unconventional.
I would say so, yes.
A lot unconventional?
Well, maybe a little.
Okay.
Maybe a little. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
As a personal trainer, do you still work with people on a physical basis?
Well, just when we walk outside, sometimes if I'll incorporate it into, if that's something that they want to work on, if they need further, I usually suggest that they go to either the gym or they'll work with another personal trainer, because my emphasis now has been more about the talk therapy, more so than the physical aspect of it. But I do incorporate it, and I'll talk about it with every single one of my clients.
Right.
They know the importance of it.
And you do work with adolescents?
Yes.
You want to tell me a little bit about some of the successes that you've had?
Wow. There's quite a few. One of the ones that I think of automatically is when kids start to come to see me, I'm a stranger to them, and right. So it often takes them a while before they feel comfortable enough to open up. But working with some of the young girls that I have been, I notice that as they express their emotions and feelings, they feel more empowered about themselves, and then they're able to express that. Right. And I watch them grow and blossom. So very often, girls that have issues maybe with eating or with expressing their feelings, I watch that whole component change, and they become so much more confident. So
right.
It's
and they're able to communicate with you as far as how they're feeling.
And and then they take it outside in the real world, where it's not just with me. They communicate maybe with family or with friends in a way that they really feel heard and understood.
Right. So as far as your work, you do mostly with adolescents, with women, and with couples. Can you talk a little bit about the work that you do with couples?
Yeah, the couples work that I do, I primarily practice something called imago therapy, and that was designed by a gentleman by the name of Harville Hendricks. And it's very simple if you get the concepts down.
Okay.
And I watch couples that come into me, and I can share one really wonderful story. A couple came to me a couple weeks ago. She sat down individually without him, and she said, I want a divorce, I'm done.
Right.
The relationship's over for me.
Finished.
Yeah. So then by explaining certain tools that they could actually change their relationship. So we fast forward 8 weeks later, because I don't usually see couples more than 8 to 10 weeks, maybe 12 sometimes. She came with a gift, and I said, what's this? I'm going to cry. So she presented me with the gift that they gave at their wedding. And she said to me, thank you so much, because you saved our marriage.
Wow. So
it can be so simple as that, but people have to really have the tools in order to be able to make the difference.
So what are some of the tools that you use?
One of the most important things that I'll say is talk from the I statement. So I feel. So if you talk from the I feel statement instead of the you, people don't go on the defensive.
Right.
So there's a comfort when you say I feel, because your feelings are valid. And then the other component is there's no blame, no shame, and no negativity.
Right.
Because when we do that to one another, it breaks down the safety. So if someone blames you or shames you, you don't feel safe in the relationship.
Right.
And then you don't feel connected.
Right.
So then
you feel very isolated.
Yeah.
If you're being blamed.
Yeah. and you don't feel safe, and I think that's the biggest thing.
So basically, you work with people once every 2 months, is that?
Oh no, I usually see most couples I'll see on a weekly basis.
Okay.
It depends on the circumstances, but I recommend, the weekly basis, because you then develop a rapport,
Right.
and so then you start to shift a little bit, and there's change. If there's too much of a lapse between the time period that I see people,
Right.
they don't feel as connected,
Right.
and it's harder for them to go through, and it's part of the therapeutic process that works so well.
Right. So, what kind of work do you do with women?
Well, it depends on the individual, but very often women come to me, they could be depressed, they could be dealing with issues of, their relationship, or maybe anxiety, that shows up a lot. I also do a women's group every Wednesday night, because a lot of people can't afford the one-to-one therapy.
Right.
So I have a women's group that I do, and it's a women's empowerment group, and I've watched these women support one another in such wonderful ways. And that's been a real joy to
So it's like Wednesday night meetings, or?
Yeah, every other
Okay.
Wednesday we meet, and it could be various topics. I had a woman call me that I'd been seeing for a while, and she had lost her dad. And so that session became all about grief and loss. And so we talked a lot about that particular session.
Right.
So everyone relates, even though they may not have the exact same circumstance. They've gone through something similar, so they all can relate to one another.
Right. Right. And I assume that they form friendships.
Yeah, it's really nice watching the bonds, and they're so supportive to one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
Not to have to go through it alone is a big thing.
I agree. Yeah,
So,
I definitely agree.
Okay. I noticed that on your website, and tell us what your website is in case anybody's interested.
My website is Inner Venture, because I feel like we're all going on this inner adventure inside ourselves, looking inside ourselves, seeing what changes that we want to have. I am proud to say my son designed the website, and he helped me with it. And it's just innerventure.net. And
Okay.
thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah. And what is the phone number if somebody wants to call you?
It's 845-418-4282.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And I noticed that you had done something with that you're certified as a past life regression therapist.
I was fortunate enough, and it was kind of serendipitous how the whole thing happened. I don't know if you've ever heard of Dr. Brian Weiss.
I have.
So
Many Lives, Many Masters.
Exactly. I read the book, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
And I was so touched by what he wrote, and looking at death differently after reading that book, that I said out loud I wanted to study with him. And I looked up, there was a professional course at Omega, but it was sold out. And there's only 150 slots, and
Right.
people wait years to go see him.
Right.
And so I put my name on the wait list, and literally a month later they called me and said it was available. So I was fortunate enough to study with him, and it is fascinating to see. Not everybody can be hypnotized. It takes time, and I've done more hypnosis, with other people that I've studied with.
Right.
But to see what people have experienced and hear them share it, and it's a certain belief. You have to be open to that. Not everybody is, but it is fascinating.
So basically, they would go and they would get hypnotized,
Mm-hmm.
and then you lead them through their past lives.
Well, if they can see it, yes, they will talk about different things. And in his books, he talks about this woman who has over 200 past lives. And so a lot of that, after she talked about all these past lives, a lot of her anxieties disappeared, because it was as if, she was healed,
Right.
in a way. So it's pretty fascinating.
From what I understand, people say that you make the same constant mistakes over and over again with every life.
Mhm.
So if you're able to go back and see that pattern,
Mm-hmm.
then you're able to make a determination that you want to change.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you guide them through that?
The most important thing is someone has to want to change.
Right.
You have to be able to have, how I look at it is, if you have enough self-reflection and can say, well, this is an issue I've been dealing with and I'm ready to change. And I want to, so my expression will be, instead of going right, I want to go left.
Right.
So, but people have to be ready for that. And if someone's not ready, then they're not going to be able to do the work.
They're going to be staying in where they are.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and that's, I'll say that even to couples, if they're stuck and they're not coachable, then that's where they're going to stay.
Right.
The more coachable someone is, the more their life is going to change.
Right.
It's pretty amazing.
And what do you see as far as your mission on Earth?
Thank you for asking that, because I want to touch as many people as I possibly can and make a difference in their lives.
Right.
Yeah.
So if somebody is having problems with their spouse, or they're having difficulties and things are difficult, for them, they can reach out and even go to the women's empowerment group just to find out about some things and meet some people that can be supportive. Right?
Yeah, no, it's very true.
Yeah. So, what was Mr. Weiss like when you
I was actually so impressed with him, and his wife was there. He's incredibly kind and giving and caring and compassionate and empathetic, and he's not full of himself at all. He's the real deal.
Cool.
Yeah.
How many people have you done past life therapy with?
I've only done it with one or two.
Okay.
Most people come to me for the hypnosis, and maybe it'll be I have a little boy that I just saw fairly recently. He wasn't sleeping through the night, and so we did the hypnosis for him, and now he's sleeping through the night. So there's a lot of power to it. It is, it's suggestive. It's completely safe. There's no danger in it. It's almost like you're in a sleeping state.
Right.
And so the power of voice or suggestion changes people's pattern of thought.
Right. Well, I didn't tell you this before, but that's why I was quite interested in when you said past life regressions. When I was married many years ago to my first husband, he's deceased now, but at any rate, he had wanted me to be different. And so it was kind of like a macho thing. They arranged that I should go to a past life therapist between him and my OBGYN. But the interesting thing is, it was a guy by the name of Garrett Oppenheim, who's actually studied with Brian. And he's actually in the book. He was some woman in the book. You remember him telling me that. But actually what it did for me is it opened my mind to all different other possibilities. So it was a failure on my ex-husband's side because he wanted to get control. And it really opened me up to expressing myself and being who I really am today.
How wonderful. Wow,
Yeah.
wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very
Well,
cool.
I didn't even know you did past life regression.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing tool.
Yes.
Because you reach into your subconscious.
That's exactly it.
And even if you don't believe in past lives, I know some people talk about past lives and say, well, it's really just a question of mistaken identity, because basically the DNA that we have in us goes back generations. So the memories of what happened could be just from our DNA that we're touching into, and our reaction can be from, generations back.
Well, it was fascinating listening to different people talk. Like, a lot of people, when they went to when they were regressed, they would say, they've been to places and that they actually felt like they've been there before.
Right.
And it may have been centuries ago, or hundreds of, years ago, but they
Right.
were actually at that same location, but not necessarily in the present life.
Right.
So a lot of people have had that.
So it's really interesting, but maybe it's not a situation of, continuing lives, but just remembering what's in your DNA from your past, history from generations before.
Right.
So stopping a generational problem is really difficult.
Oh, if you think back about drug, alcohol abuse, it is very difficult because it could be in someone's DNA and it could be genetic, and to go change that is very difficult for that person.
But the hypnosis actually is a tool that can help.
Yes, it could.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily. I find it with fears that it works really well with.
Okay.
For people that have fears about certain things, that seems to be a change, or maybe weight loss or smoking. But I find it with the anxieties and the fear a lot, you know. So
Yeah.
that's where I'll see a lot of the changes for people.
So basically, as far as you're concerned, what do you see in the future as far as where you want to envision your work going?
Well, eventually, once I get more certifications and obviously licenses, I would like to have other people working with me
Uh-huh.
and maybe develop the practice a little bit more.
Okay.
Because it's, you know, it could be so wonderful and how you can change people.
Right,
So,
right.
I can't do it alone.
Well, you can do what you can do alone.
Correct.
You
Correct.
know, but your vision is to have a group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then as far as the women that you're working with,
Mhm.
what do you find is the most important or the most often situation that you're dealing with?
I think common for most people, and I don't think it's just women, is having healthy boundaries of how we're treated. So maybe to be able to say that's not okay, or that doesn't work for me, to be able to have that boundary so let's say someone's yelling at them,
Right.
you know, that's not okay. So what's a healthy boundary on how to handle that? So I think that comes up a lot for people. And also how we communicate. You know, are we blaming and shaming? Are we talking from the I statement?
Right.
You know, when we speak from the I, it's incredible because people really, they listen.
Right.
You know, they feel safe
Right.
in a relationship. So,
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the work that you do with meditation.
what happens is a lot of people come to me and they're anxious.
Right.
They can't be present. I call a lot of people, and my expression is, are you a human doing or are you a human being?
Right.
So I try and help people just be present and really sit with themselves. And so sometimes they'll come into my office, and it's almost a form of hypnosis where we'll take, you know, a meditation and we'll do a complete like body scan. So maybe we start from the top of your head and we'll go all the way down to see where you may be holding tension.
Right.
And then you exhale out that tension and you inhale the calm.
Okay.
So it could be very helpful for people. It's a great tool to have.
Yeah. Are you working with adolescents with that?
Sometimes children, yes, but oftentimes, you know, with children, they don't always have the patience to sit still. So let's say I have a little boy and he gets really angry. We'll run up and down the hallway. We'll use his physical being in order to be able to calm himself down.
Right.
So if he has anger or, you know, trouble controlling his emotions, that's another way that he could do it.
Right.
Or I have a young lady, the same thing. If she gets upset about something or she's stressed, she goes outside and she kicks a soccer ball. So that's where, you know, I find that the mind-body is so important. I may influence it. I may
Right.
not be doing it with them, actually, but we do talk about it.
Yeah. Are you involved at all with the third item, spirit?
You know, when you say spirit, it's, how do you define that? You know, for a lot of people, it's, you know, and I try not to get into necessarily the religious component.
Right.
Maybe their belief system, you know, what do they feel strongly about?
Right.
So it depends on if it comes up.
Right.
You know? I try and be respectful of people's beliefs.
Well, I think we should all be respectful of people's beliefs.
Yeah.
And if one person is having a problem, we're all having a problem. Most people don't even realize that. They think, oh, you know, I'm having a problem and it's all about me. But they don't realize that we're all in this together.
Right.
So we're all putting out this energy.
Well, without question.
So-
Without question.
What kind of energy are you putting out?
Yeah.
Are you putting out positive energy? Are you making the world a better place?
Right.
Or are you angry?
Right.
And you have to deal with your anger.
Right. Right.
So,
But not everybody realizes that.
I think I want to come to your Wednesday class.
I would love to see you there. It's so. Last week I had a woman come for the first time, and she's going through a very difficult divorce. And these women never met her before, but I get so impressed by them every time.
Right.
They all offered to go with her to court. They all
Wow.
offered, like, can we come? Do you need our support so you don't have to do this alone? Because she's scared.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's pretty special to watch
great.
that, you know, camaraderie and people supporting one another and really caring. Yeah.
So if there was one thing that you wanted to express and tell people about, what would that be?
In regards to
Your work.
my work,
Yeah.
I'm really lucky. I get to wake up every day and it's not work.
Okay.
So I love what I do, and I'm fortunate enough to, you know, every day that I do what I do, it's like I look forward to it. I really look forward to it. And I often leave my office really so filled with, wow, you know, today was an awesome day.
Right.
because I watched changes in people, or I kept that couple together, or they now understand how to communicate, or they're not as depressed, or they're not as angry, or they're not dealing with a food issue, or
Right.
eating disorder.
Right.
So
So where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Sullivan County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where in Sullivan?
Monticello.
Okay.
Actually, I went to school in Fallsburg,
Okay.
and then I moved to Monticello. And then after I got divorced, I moved out of the area, and now I live in Nyack.
So, well, Nyack's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it suits me. It
Yeah,
really does.
yeah.
Yeah, I like living there.
It's very beautiful by the water.
Yeah, there's something very healing about being by the Hudson.
And there's a lot of art in Nyack.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you feel about art as far as an essential thing for people to have around them?
Well, I love photography, so I often I have several pictures in my office. As a matter of fact, there's a picture of two eagles, and each picture has a picture with the nest and the babies coming out of it. And I put that there because I was riding my bike at the time, just flying, and some guy was on the side of the road with his big telephoto lens, and I said, no, I want to stop. I want to see what he's looking at.
Right.
So we stopped, and I find that I put those pictures there for meaning for my clients because we go too fast in life,
Right.
and if I kept going, look what I would have missed.
And he was
So-
taking a picture of the two eagles?
Yeah, and so I went back and took the picture on the next day.
Okay.
I came back. So in that sense, and there's other pictures that I have in the office. But,
Right.
I love nature. I feel fortunate enough that, we get to go outdoors and enjoy a lot of the stuff. We have the Goshen Trail here, and then the Nyack Beach, which I like to take people out on.
Where is the Nyack Beach?
It's in Nyack. It's kind of at the end of town on South Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good place to go.
Oh, it's beautiful, and it
Yeah.
walks all along the Hudson, and you could see the water there. And I've gone on different hikes there, so sometimes I hear it, sometimes I see it, sometimes I smell it, depending on the experience.
What is the most difficult situation or case that you've had so far to deal with?
I had a couple come in to see me, and I had already seen them each individually, and they had a discrepancy. They had in their relationship, and he got so annoyed. He picked up his self and grabbed his jacket and started to walk out of my office.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I said to him, as he's getting ready to leave, I said, is this how you deal with everything in your life? Do you get up and leave? Do you get up and run? And I said, it's not helping you. I said, come back and sit down and let's see if we can work on this. And he stayed and worked it out, and then their relationship changed. Very
Wow.
often we cope the same way over and over again.
Yeah.
But I got him to stay. And so, I was in my seat going, oh my God, please don't leave. Because he was going to walk out, and literally he was on his way to slamming the door. He was pretty angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was probably the most difficult.
That was the most difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what about the most rewarding?
There's a lot. I can't just think of one.
Well, give me two. Give me three.
So I was seeing this young lady. She's 16 years old, and she was being bullied in school, and she wasn't eating, and she was really having a difficult time. And so we got her to be able to talk and express herself and feel better about herself. She was pretty depressed. And watched a complete turnaround. Like, she's eating, she's taking care of herself, she's engaging with friends, she's going out more. She was isolating and pretty depressed. And
Right.
so to watch that change and then have her mom come in and her mom just like so ecstatic and so happy because she's not sad anymore and doesn't want to hurt herself. And so, yeah,
It's a beautiful
pretty,
thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. And there's been a couple other, and I would say it's mostly teenagers that I see those things when you're asking me, because why do I see that is because I know that now for the rest of their lives that they're
Right.
going to be able to take care of themselves. Hopefully they'll go on and get married and have children, and then they'll be able
Right.
to deal with their children. So it doesn't stop with just the child.
Right.
It goes on. And often with couples, it's the same thing. When you see a couple staying together and they could work it out and they have little kids, and now they had to model what it's like to be in a healthy relationship for their children, so then their children get the benefit of it too.
Right. So
Yeah.
you're actually changing generational
Yeah.
difficulties.
Yeah. It's
Very rewarding.
yes, it is.
Yeah. Do you ever have anyone come in that's suffering from sexual abuse?
I have not. I've only, and you know, there's certain things that I am good at or I can handle, and then there's things that I can't. And so I'm fortunate enough that if something comes across my plate that I don't feel I'm a good fit for, I will tell them that. And I will
Right.
say, listen, I do have someone that deals with trauma. Maybe you should call her.
Right.
Or if you'd rather see a male therapist, maybe you would go to this person. So I'm really fortunate to have people that I trust, that I would send my children to,
Right.
you know, to be able to refer. I can't be everything to everybody.
No. Are you involved with any professional groups?
I was with an eating disorder group in Rockland, but it was, I didn't have the time for it.
Right.
I did volunteer a bit for the Boys and Girls Club. That's really rewarding, right here in Orange County and in Sullivan County. Again, the time commitments on that and my work. I work a lot at night, so there's 3 or 4 nights a week where I'm working.
Right.
So I can't. It's hard for me to commit to them. So whenever I can volunteer, I do.
Thank you so much, Amy, for being with us and empowering women everywhere. And thank you for the work that you're doing in empowering women. And if anyone would like to join Amy on her Wednesday class or find out more about her, you can give her a call at, and your number?
It's 845-418-4282.
And also find out on her website what she's up
Right.
to, which is
Interventure.net.
interventure.net. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
I've been looking for a house with no walls or no whispers, no hiding places, no secret sister. Been looking for a house that won't shelter a lie, no tear-stained past or reason to cry. I wanna live in a house of love. I wanna live in a house of love. I know there's a
Hi, I'm Lenny Galino. I'm a retired New York City detective. I was with the New York City Police Department for 21 years, retired in 2006, and now I'm proud owner of Gold Shield Investigations. I got the opportunity recently to see Collar. And you know, I'm a real critic when it comes to police movies, cop movies. Well, I got to say this. In watching Collar, I thought it was authentic. It hit home. The actor portrayal of TJ was right on the mark. You know what I see a lot of times with these police movies, the actors always seem to overact the part of a police officer. And you know, in any professional looking at it, you know, maybe even some people, you know, they like the drama of it, but it comes through. And in this particular movie, the way it was portrayed, it was authentic. The storyline, the real issues, issues that really are not spoken about. Something could be learned from this.